Hello everyone, I hope everybody can hear us loud and clear. Thank you for joining us on this day. While we are waiting for everybody to join, a few administrative stuff. First of all, we are happy you joined us on this webinar. We would have preferred this to be live, like in person, maybe in IBC or some other place, but unfortunately due to the coronavirus troubles the world is having, we have to do it this way. So this webinar is going to be recorded, and and we will provide to everybody who registered the video after that, so you can replay it anytime you want. Any questions are welcome. You can post them in the chat, and we will be answering them at the end of the video, at the end of the webinar. Let me just talk briefly about the agenda today, what we're going to be talking about. So we're going to be looking at today's challenges for content management and automation, some future trends that we're seeing that are going to be important for businesses. After that, we are going to be presenting the system and the solution that we see for these challenges, together with some real-world examples of these automations and processes that we'll discuss. Most of the presentation is going to be presenting the system. It's going to be a demo. In the beginning we have a few slides, but after that we'll dive right in the system. So this is us. My name is Boris. I'm a software engineer. I've been working on this system from its very creation, so I know pretty much everything about it. I have many years of experience with multiple systems in many different companies.
Hello from me as well. My name is Kamen Ferdinandov. I have more than 30 years of experience in media and entertainment industry, with a lot of successful products behind me. So this is in short. So let's talk about what we see are today's challenges in the industries, media industry and content management industry. First of all, there are a lot of existing specialized systems which has to be somehow to be more modernized and to be able to handle today's challenges, and this involves either integration or total replacement of them. So this is a real challenge. There are a lot of old archives with the contents which has to be somehow handled in the new environments. This is another challenge. Today there are multiple ways to store the data and files and media in multiple locations, which allow different connections to them and interfaces. And all of them, or multiple of them, usually are used inside organizations. Today, more and more we see that companies have to use multiple parallel channels to publish their materials. So this is another challenge. And of course, if you have to deal with a lot of materials located everywhere with different people, security is something which is with a big concern, and not only security but also data protection. one wants to have their materials still stolen, so this is challenge also. Today we see that more and more companies want to involve their partners, their clients, and their subcontractors directly inside their systems. So this is another challenge also. And we see that the world is changed constantly, so we have to be dynamic. This means not only scaling up and down our businesses, but also changing our workforce. So it is not yet possible to implement something which we will say it will be valid for next 5 or 10 years. Normally you want to be dynamic. And last but not least is more and more people try to involve artificial intelligence and machine learning processes to improve the speeds and quality of dealing with their data. So this is what we think is the most important for the systems which people want to use, and we try to address all of them in our system, which we will talk a little bit more later. So, to be more focused on the future trends, especially in content management and automation, let's somehow categorize the things. First, user-defined workflows, which orchestrate our whole content supply chain, which involves everyone. Clients, partners, subcontractors, viewers, whoever is in the somehow have touch with the content can be addressed, can be involved in our workforce, and this gives better visibility of what's happening, better planning, better ways to improve the processes, such kind of things.
Yeah, one example we could give here is some of our clients actually use such a system that they want their clients to log in their own system, which is not only internal, they also provide it to the outside world, and their own clients, they want to log in the same system to upload the materials there and to receive the complete materials also in the system. Also for subcontractors to be able to log in, to work there, to, for example, work on text or on subtitles or things like that. So having a single system which connects everybody and all the data is something which is coming. That's what we think.
So when we speak that you want to involve external people, you definitely want to brand your system and make it best suitable to your audience. So third parties and subcontractors to better identify your company, and of course to be possible to customize it in the best suitable for your particular type of business or company way. So this is something which normally is not present in the systems, and you cannot have best experience to different types of your partners, customers, viewers, or other parties.
Yes, everybody has their own kind of workflows. There are different kind of like way they work. So the ability to be able to customize the system the way you want is something which should be available, and also that should be easily done.
And as I said, also it's important to put stress here. The same system can have different customization based on who is accessing it. Normally you do a system which is similar to everybody, probably missing some bits here and there, but having totally different experience for different kind of people normally is not provided by a single system. And of course, today everybody talk about artificial intelligence, business intelligence, and such kind of technologies. Yes, they definitely can improve efficiency. The challenge here is how to use multiple available engines of this kind, to be able to change them, to be able to integrate them in your system, to switch between them when needed, to use multiple of the same kind simultaneously to choose the best result. So a system which can integrate such engines and constantly connect to newly existing ones, something which definitely can improve efficiency.
So yeah, this is where we come. This is the product that we'll be showcasing. It's called Profuse Lapis, and it is a single environment to manage all content, data, and processes. It has a number of different, let's say, modules and abilities. It of course can manage content, but that's definitely not the whole thing. That's a very minor part of the whole system. It can manage any kind of materials, videos, audios, images, documents, presentations, anything you want. It also has you can manage your sales process in there. You can manage your business process there. You can manage your projects there, your tasks, your resources. There's a wider variety of things that can be done. Most of these things we will be showing in the demos, so don't worry about that. One of the main features that we already stressed on is the customization abilities of the system. Pretty much anything and everything in the system is customizable, either via like us, the providers of the system, or via third parties. So the system is very extensible and very customizable.
Yeah, I want to add that here we listed just ones of most common modules. Any of those can be provided by the system itself internally, or can be provided by some existing external system. So, and even multiple of those can be simultaneously connected and actually integrated inside our system. So this gives ability to make a constant deployment of the system. So you may start with something, continue to use your existing systems, and but all the data you would be unified under one root. And also, as I said, you see here some common modules, but this list actually is unlimited. So any type of additional data, module or process can be integrated in the system or provided by the system itself. So this is what we mean by highly customizable in terms of data, processes, and used internal or external resources available.
Yes, this is one of the challenges that Kamen mentioned in the beginning, that people have multiple systems that they want somehow integrated. So Lapis is such a system that it could provide everything that a company needs internally, but if a company already has some system that it uses and it likes, it's possible to integrate the data inside Lapis. And most of the time this happens without copying the data. So Lapis can just be some kind of a proxy to the other system. So the data is always up to date. It's not copied and then becomes stale. We can talk a little bit about the system, and we can start with the demos. So let us just share the screen like this. So hopefully you should be able to see both the presentation and the system now. So a few general words about it. It is web-based. So there is a server somewhere and everybody connects to it via a normal web browser. Works on all browsers. The system is deployable either in some cloud or in a company's private infrastructure. We have both cases as our clients. We'll talk about customizability later. One of the interesting things about our licensing model is that it's not it's very dynamic. It's flexible. We don't charge per user, which is one of the key points that we can make, because that's how companies can integrate their external clients and subcontractors and make them use the system, and this doesn't cost the company much more than before.
Yeah, this way there is no hidden costs which cannot be taken in account in advance.
Yeah, so now we can step in the system and start showing things.
Yeah.
We can initially we're gonna start just showing basic stuff, going through this list with some of the more important features of the system, and then we can step in and show some of the specific content management and automations that the system provides.
Yeah, this screen may look a little bit busy, but because this let's say user with such rights and what information he sees depends on his role. As we mentioned, every user or every group of users may have their own screen with elements which are most appropriate to them and with the data which is dependent of their role. But this way shows a little bit more what is available. Again, not everything, because if you have to talk about every single piece, it will take like forever. So, so the first point we are talking about here is that you can have your own workflows creation. So this can happen inside the system itself. So it has its own editing capability of the workflows. So you can do it directly inside the system. So you can create your own processes with own chain. Those steps may include user tasks or service processes or external processes. you can control the flow of the workflow, what happens, when it happens, and so on. So this way you can dynamically add new workflows to your company, change existing ones, modify them when there is need for that, either make them more complex or more simple, so everything is inside the system.
So yeah, let me just mention something here also. So as Kamen mentioned, here you can one could have either user tasks, which is literally something that a human person should do. This is such kind of task. There's also other kinds of tasks which are automated. So like script tasks or service tasks, and these tasks they can do something automatically. The system has a very comprehensive API. Pretty much anything can be done from here. So the automatic process here can do anything that the company needs, be it working on materials like transcoding or transferring or whatever, or any other kind of automation that the company needs.
Yeah. We can talk just on these topics for months, let's say. But to be easy, it's a customer who can do whatever he needs inside with the simple tools and make the system constantly changeable or as perfect as he needs.
Also, this is using an industry standard called BPMN for defining such diagrams, such workflows. So we didn't invent this. There's tons of materials on the web on how one creates these kinds of diagrams. So we use industry standards.
Yeah. So to explain the next point, which is supply chain management, I have to say a little bit of what you are seeing on the screen. First of all, to the system, as we said, one can have multiple connected either storages, libraries, or external systems which provide any kind of data, not only media, not only content. And all those connections can provide materials, data, metadata to the system, and there is no actual need to transfer anything inside our system. This makes it dynamic. So, for example, you can connect to some stock photo libraries, and whenever you search, let's say, what is available anywhere connected in the system, you will have the results from these external libraries live, and only if you need to get material from there, you may require some kind of transfer. So this is how, if you have existing libraries with tons of materials, you do not need actually to transfer them to this system. You simply connect this external library to it, and you may even continue to use it. And only materials which are needed can be automated or handled by the system itself. The next thing is that there are a lot of modules which can provide different operations, including workflow. So this can provide the tools which may be needed to handle all the aspects of the supply chain of the content. For example, what's happened if something appears in the externally connected storage or library. So this is one kind of triggering some automated processes further the chain. The other example is that this process may need to include people to do something on it, whether to approve it, to pay something to someone, to decide what to be done with this material. Or it can happen the opposite way. Someone may decide that he needs something. This triggers the process, either automated or manual, to continue the supply chain. And this, there are tons of possibilities how the things may go and what chains may be needed inside a particular organization. At the end, what's happened with the content is either we publish it somewhere, store it for future references in some archives or something. So different ways of using this content, and everything which happens between what started the process chain and what ends it can be controlled inside the system. So that's why you may need some sort of planning, so like project management. So you have such kind of modules here to create projects in which to have multiple tasks needed to be executed either simultaneously in parallel or somehow planned in the future, some ways of providing a dependency of all of those. So this is like having ability to plan somehow manually or semi-manually. Similar thing can be achieved, of course, automatically with more definable workflows, as we already showed. But you have the tools to have tasks assignment to someone, to connect them with the materials. So let's say I want this task somehow to involve a particular material. I'm able to do it. I'm showing now manually. Of course, everything which I'm showing manually can happen also automatically. So planning, you can even involve sales processes, so handling like deals, selling, purchasing, connections with contacts to your company. Actually,
the whole sales process.
The whole sales process. And the good thing is that everything you see here may have relation or connection with some other data. So this way you always have the full picture of what's happening inside the company, connecting every single bit of information together. So nothing is lost. What's happened because of who or what.
So complex reporting, like I don't know, from one side of the whole process to the other, are also possible because the whole chain is inside the system, from the deal, from the customer, from the contact in the system to the whole way to the finished, for example, file. The whole thing is in the system, so any kind of queries and reporting are possible because the data is just there.
Yeah, but this is some examples of common modules which may apply to any type of industry which wants also to keep track of everything else, not only of the logical data of the deal. So that's why you can have more specialized things like handling a newsroom, for example, with their specifics. Of handling the news stories between the journalists and so on. And again, this connects one form of process to the media content or other type of content. So this is what we mean by handling a full supply chain. The next thing we want to talk about is that we have some complex media assets. Of course, you can treat media as simple as it's single file, it's single image, single video, single audio. But usually you may need a lot more functionality on the media itself, which of course is handled through the assets. So assets can have a lot more complex relations to all bits of media. So here you see example of video assets, which actually holds information not only about the video file itself, the first thing here, but we can assign directly to it subtitles, additional audio, even documents, let's say, or images, or whatever else is needed to fully describe what this media asset is needed to be used for. And of course, again, you can actually make this structure even more complex just by configuration. So here you see also that there are possibility to make additional partitioning of the media. All these parts can be treated by themselves like a logical media, so you can deal with them. For example, you can give access to some external party or only to the part of the whole asset. This way you can focus someone on the particular part of the video, or even give him right to view and work only with this portion of the material. So this is what we call complex assets. Those maybe not only video assets, those could be also audio assets, so any simple media, let's say simple content, can be converted to more complex asset. This way you can even add to it some things like if you have purchased it, you may apply directly to it its licensing agreement. This way you will not lose track what are even the licensing available to this particular material. Of course, this feature is used from the people who actually need this, but you have the ability. Next topic is real-time monitoring of data. So whatever you see in the system is in real time. It's real-time updated. All the data which is coming from somewhere, disappear somewhere, is live updated in the UI and in the system itself. Even the searches you make can be live. Let's say you may search for some interesting happening today. All the results which fall under this query search, this is some simple one, just simple text. It could be a lot more complex, but every results which are found from any connected system in real time updates on your screen. But you can also save it as something which we call search session. This way it will be constantly available and providing live monitoring of those changes. So this way you can focus on other things and the system will notify it. And even automations are possible if such live sessions have something new in them. We already mentioned the next topic. We already mentioned external content is handled without transfer. So all required metadata that may be provided by external system can be used in live, one way or the other, and transfers are not really needed to some kind of internal storage, which is common to a lot of other systems. This gives possibility easy to connect, disconnect other storages, existing libraries, external libraries, to merge companies, let's say. It's also possible this way. Integration, this is the next topic, integration with machine learning and artificial intelligence technologies. Some examples, let's say, this audio, for example, was automatically processed by a speech-to-text engine to transcribe it. You can configure different such external engines to be used. Currently, we can show some example of course, again, I'm triggering it manually. It can be automatically. This is some audio, and I can say I want this to be transcribed. I can have, depending of the chosen engine. Here we have models to be used. Let's say you can have your own models which can be applied also. So this can make such a kind of processing. Another examples are not only for audio, the same may happen for video. For video may happen also some kind of image recognition, which may provide additional metadata and other useful stuff. And again, multiple engines can be used for different type of material, which can either provide metadata or some other kind of data, which can also trigger your workflows and processes automatically. So this way you can now you see that we have this audio transcribed and so on. So similar things is with translation of the text. So here, for example, we have done this automatic translation, again using third-party artificial intelligent library to do it to some other language and so on. So in the system there are integrated editors for video, audio and other stuff. So for example, here you can just find it. You can have storyboards which to be used for any kind. So let's say you want to make your own version of it, to trim it somehow, to change the involved materials in it, to add another materials to where you need it, whether those are video, audio, or whatever else is needed. So those storyboards can be used for different purposes, like providing ready playlists for playout automation systems, to provide storyboards or timelines for video editors. So this way you can actually make a rough cut of the materials you need and provide it for further refinement to, let's say, third party or other users that to do something else even with external tools. So here you can export it to different formats and use other systems to further process it. The same applies for other sort of materials like audio, subtitles. There is internal editor of subtitles. Yeah. Let's make switch.
I will switch for the rest. So as Kamen mentioned, we for videos, for example, we have transcoding. Like people can write their own presets, like watermarking or extraction to audio or anything they want. The same we have for audios. For images we have for subtitles, as Kamen said, we have an internal editor. We also have translation via third-party service. So any such things could be added as needed. We have also text dictation and voice commands for any text field which is in the system. There is, for example, a button like this, and when you click it, you can talk to it. I guess I can try now. Hello, my name is John, and the text appears. So simple, very simple dictation capabilities are in the system. We have noted here content encryption and watermarking. We have somewhere.
Yeah, this one.
We have
So here you see the
this is the original video.
Which we may have version of it. So all the transformation applied to a particular asset can be listed here. So multiple formats and variants of the media can be listed. So here we have, for example, variant of this, which is watermarked. Of course, this can happen automatically whenever media enters in the system, or manually triggered automatically. All the previews available to the users to be watermarked, even encrypted. This makes them very secure. Not having access to the original media, only to the preview with encryption and watermark.
We also have the ability to overlay text on videos, so because watermarking takes processing, and this is actually a new file, but we also have the ability to overlay on a video that is shown in the system. So for example, some third-party person from outside the company, we give them access to a video and we can overlay something on the video. They cannot, of course, download it, but even if they somehow screen capture what they're seeing, there is going to be an overlay. So that's also possible for protection. We also have DRM included, so one could DRM their videos for additional protection. Of course, the system has changelog and activities. Like everything that happens in the system is put in a. There is a changelog of everything. Of course, this is a matter of permissions. Right now, we are with a high privilege user, so they see almost everything. But according to the rights, people, we see different things here. We also have live collaboration, which means that multiple people can edit the same document, for example, or the same video or something like that. Similar to, for example, Google Docs or something like this. We also have publishing to social media. We have publishing to YouTube, Twitter, and LinkedIn. We can also add others as needed.
For example, you can prepare your publishing calendars, which is related to the media, which may be used for something else also, and the system can automatically or manually automatically or manually publish it on a YouTube channel, for example. So in other forms, other social medias. So this way you can handle all sort of publishing and within the same system.
We can actually try this live. We have connected YouTube. Let's hope this works. But yeah, every time somebody does something live, it's not sure that it will happen, but we'll see. This is the channel that we're trying to publish to. Yeah, if the internet is working, maybe we'll see it. And again, the last point here is integration with external editors and airing systems. Yes, we have support for exporting these storyboards that Kamen talked about. We have ability to export them to multiple different airing systems, or yes, external editors like Adobe.
Adobe Premiere, Final Cut.
Yes, we export multiple standards that are also possible to be externally edited or directly streamed to the airing system. A little bit more about specific content management.
Yeah, I already said a few words about it. Just this gives some, let's say, nice picture of what are the main parts of the chain needed of handling the media. So things depend of external or who provides media. So media can be provided through external storages or libraries. This can happen either by pulling or material from it if it does not automatically notify that there is something new. Of course, users can upload or supply some other way materials to the system, and other systems can directly be connected to our system from their end. What's happened with the materials is we need to process and manage them, and there are some examples of things and main things which happens with the media or are related to the media, like automatic workflows with user-driven processes, content processing, supply chain management, involving some artificial intelligence over it, business intelligence and planning. And note that the things does not happen from left to right. Any sort of the process may start from any point. Because of the publishing, it may trigger planning, which to trigger somewhere to be find a material, for example, which to be provided back to the system, and so on and so on. So things happen from any point to any point. And of course, publishing or using the materials can be any of those, as you see, used for TV channels, for video on demand and OTT, for radio channels, for printable media, for social media, as we've shown. For digital selling, actually you can organize digital selling directly inside our system. This way you have the same information used by the system itself, and you can publish on web of any sort.
Maybe very shortly to...
Yeah, we can talk forever for real world examples that can be handled by the system. I better to show here a diagram on which to show something which may be handled by the system itself. So this simple workflow, it's actually simple because normally you may have even more complex things. But let's say someone needs a material of some sort, and it triggers starting of this workflow. For example, I need a materials which shows 3 women on a beach. And this task is given to someone to find good examples that can be used. So this is the next step. So these materials which have been found are given back to the person who has requested it to select the ones who he like actually or want to use. After he selects one of those, he may those materials may need to be purchased. So this can go to the purchasing department, whether to approve them or not. If those are not approved, this can be returned back to the person to find another materials which are better suitable with either better pricing or something else. After that, the media may need processing. So you see, if they need purchasing, they will go through that way. I also said they will directly go to check if they need processing. By processing, we mean something like additional editing or refining or something to the medias we have. If there is no need, we may go directly to the next step, which is automatic conversion. So we may need all the medias which are somehow used inside our organization to be converted to a common format or to a multiple formats which are acceptable to our workflows. And this is an automatic process. So, and after that, we may go to actually using or publish or whatever else is needed as media. So this is a very common example of workflow needed inside an organizations. Usually they do it somehow manually. There is lots of information, what was related and what not. Here, everything is in a single place.
Very briefly, to note what is new for the past few months. We've added industry farm formats like IMF and DPX support in the system. We've added these integrations with these AI engines as we added. We currently support the newest one is Aptech. They provide us with translation of text documents and subtitles, and they provide also transcribing. We also added this dictation that we showed and the voice commands. Also also something we didn't show, but we should have, but we didn't have the time probably, is the fully customizable views and dashboards of different users. Perhaps if Kamen can just log out from this user and log in with somebody else who has a different screen, to just show that the system is fully customizable in terms of visuals. So right now we are we logged in with a client, for example. This is like an example system where clients come and want to choose images, for example, and this is like their landing page. They pretty much see the latest images, and then they have a few tasks going on, and that's it. So so everything in the system is customizable in terms of visuals.
We just use tools, layouts available to someone. We think this is important thing because there are different roles of users inside the system, and usually they want or need only things which are of their interest in a way which is most appropriate to them. So how the screen is laid out to them, what tools are used there, everything depends. And in different companies, industries, type of people, regions, there are different habitats, let's say. So
Yes, we provide already defined such views for a number of different types of roles of users, but of course everything is also...
yeah, so that some people directly want to start using what is available, it is possible, and can be further customizable. The other want to make totally their own system with all the ideas they have. And this also gives possibility which normally all we know it's happening when someone from our company comes and says, I want a button here in the page. And there is a decision to make whether to make it for everybody or to request it because it is not available. Here it is under your control. If that person needs a button, make him happy. This is what may improve the user experience of every single user of this system, depending on his role, his needs, and so on.
Okay, I think we're nearing the end. This is the part for questions. If anybody has any questions now or later.
Yeah, I don't see questions in the chat room. Probably they are not such at this point. If someone wants to ask something, please send us email. We will be very happy to answer. If someone wants a personal demo, more clarification of what the system is capable of, or to show some particular things which of interest of someone, happy to make a demo, to discuss, to answer anytime.
Yep.
So thank you everybody. Thanks that you have watched and been part of this webinar. I hope this may happen more regularly to give our thoughts and views and discuss things which are of interest in all kind of industry. And thank you.
Yeah, thank you from me too. Hope we taught somebody something.
See you. Bye
bye.